Okay, in this video, I'm going to talk about dysfunctional, some would call them narcissistic in-laws, or the like. If you're not married, say it's like this to start off with. Just this is the first one. Is you meet somebody, you start dating, and let's say in this, I'm going to use the example of it's a woman dating a man in all of these, and it can be the opposite or any other way, but you meet a man and you start dating and you get to know him and you run across somehow, some way, his sister. It wasn't planned, but you run across his sister. Okay, now these are all hypothetical, unless otherwise stated. They're fictional. So you run across his sister and you're all adults, and she treats you in a manner that is like treating you like a child, infantilization. She infantilizes you. And she makes sure you know that she is first. Okay, in some cultures that would be true. Okay, but in yours it is not true. And she makes sure you know where the line is. That she and the family are first. And you are last. Okay, and you just totally disagree. But you don't have an argument then about it at all. In fact, you're quite shocked by it and stunned, and you just don't say anything right then. Well, later on, you talk to him about it, and you ask him, nicely, why was your sister acting like that? And he doesn't, he says, what do you mean? Like what? He did not get it. He did not see it. He did not at all recognize what she was doing, and he was sitting right there when she said it. Form of counseling or advice or anything. So don't do anything because of what I say. Okay, your experience is your own. You got to pay the consequences of your own actions and your inactions. And one size doesn't fit all in any of these. Okay, some people can be dangerous too, and everybody can be. But so you think about this. You say, this is how his sister is. What about the rest of his family? To me personally, that would be major red flags. He doesn't get it. He's used to their behavior. And I would have to question myself, is that what I'm going to be signing up for? His family is going to have that, attitude. At least one of them does. And if he's not noticing it, then would the rest of them, are they the flying monkeys? Or is she just the spokesperson for the whole? Or what? And I know that a lot of times when you meet somebody and you're feeling really good about them, that it's hard to make those kinds of decisions of, okay, I've met his family member or members, and I don't know if I want to spend the rest of my life with this person who doesn't see what they do, and therefore it's not going to change. It's going to look like me. It might. And the rest of my life be like that. See, that's how my brain would think. That might not be how yours thinks. See what's best for you all around. Like I said, don't make decisions based on what I say. Okay, that to me is a red flag. Now, sometimes you don't meet their potential in-laws until later on. Or maybe you had no plans on getting married, but you meet them, his family. And right off the bat, you're like, what in the world? It's the mother and the father. And now we stereotype mothers-in-law. It's not always them. It can be anybody in the family or none. It's not always. There's not always a problem. In other words. Now, in this, it doesn't have to be their nuclear family. I think what they used to call it. Just the parents, grandparents. It was parents and children. Okay, it can be cousins. It can be aunts, uncles, anybody that's related to them. And I have seen that myself personally. So, there's somebody around their same age. Now, but you have to stop and think about it for a moment. Maybe you are already an in-law to somebody. You're a mother-in-law or father-in-law to somebody, or you might potentially be later on. How would you feel if you met your son or daughter's, latest girlfriend or boyfriend, and you didn't like them? Would you say something? Would you get involved? How would you feel? They are adults. And you have to go through that yourself, empathy. Put yourself in their shoes. How would you respond? Now, if they're dysfunctional, and so you're not dysfunctional, but dysfunctional people will immediately, maybe some of them, not like you unless they think that you're their next victim. And you're the one they're going to play and use and play as a scapegoat, use as a scapegoat. They might pretend that they like you. They might pretend they like you for any reason. One size doesn't fit all, remember. Okay, now I have known some to think of themselves in terms of that, what I mentioned earlier, that they come first before anybody else. It's the blood relation before anybody else. In my culture, no. The spouse comes first. The spouse, your children and your spouse, and then later on down the line, comes their family. But I've known people that, and I've known them to, when they visit, they believe that the house is theirs. That like it's your house, and your in-laws or the like come to visit. They believe it's their first in their home before it's your home and your kid's home. And they change things around to where the way they want it, like in the kitchen especially, to the way they want it, and they take over the kitchen because it's their home first, and you're just a guest at the moment. Yeah, I've seen some that had known some that had that. And there was one, it was he was an ex-boyfriend, but he's passed away years ago. And I'm guessing everybody knows, that his parents are too by now. But his mother, she was what you would call the stereotypical mother-in-law. Now, I wasn't married to him, so. It was my boyfriend. I had been dating him for a while. Well, it's his mother. And I'm talking years. Had no intention of getting married again. And she was very controlling. She came there, I don't know, I think it was because he was in the hospital. And she was more interested in ensuring that if he didn't make it, that she is the one who got his life insurance. And so she wanted to go through his paperwork and all that kind of stuff. And I had lived there, I think, before then, for a while. And it was just a horrible, horrible situation. And she made it such. But I remember one of the things that she did was, this sounds so small in comparison to all the crazy stuff she did. But she had me I was in the kitchen, and so I was in the kitchen. I was making a sandwich, okay, and she came in and she pounced on, verbally pounced on me, stating that whenever I make a sandwich, you have all the ingredients sitting there, that what I'm supposed to do, okay, it was her attitude, was to take one thing out of the refrigerator, shut the refrigerator door, use that one, bring it back to the refrigerator, get the next one, put it in there to get the next one, shut the door, go back, open the door, get the next, yeah. I thought the woman was crazy, because that is not the way I'm going to do a sandwich, make a sandwich, no. So I did what I do. I was, I am and was then an adult. I was in my, I think, late 30s, maybe early 40s. And no, I was not a child, and she was not going to treat me as one. Now, and that kind of person that she was, I can tell you, she thought I was being rebellious because her word was law. Because she was from, she and I were the same ethnic group. I've seen it in different ethnic groups. But she and I the same ethnic group, no. It wasn't a cultural thing. But she thought of it as though she was on top. And I had to mind her. And he was, like I said, he had been in the hospital. It was a really bad scene. He almost died. And he was in there for 61 days. And 45 of them, they didn't expect him to survive. Seriously, it was bad. Okay, I need to give a little background. Now, when he was in the hospital, it was so bad, the hospital actually released him. And I don't remember how they called it. In my not protection, not guardianship. He was an adult, older than I, a few years, but something like that. And that I needed to watch him. Okay, he had a skull fracture, and that I needed to watch him, and I did have to save his life twice shortly after that. With the skull fracture, they said that he basically was starting life over again. I mean, going through developmental stages all over again, so many different things. But it was a very weird situation. So his parents, his mother had stayed there the whole time. Oh my goodness, horrible. Now he was back into his home, his house, and I was staying there to watch him and cook for him and stuff like that. And when his mother left, she came back with her husband. He was a former sergeant or something, and she had been in the military also, and she was just very, rough, and she was sergeant charge, and no, you're not. Well, anyway, they came back in an RV, and they parked it out front of his house, and this was in a suburb of Dallas, and they were from like 7 or 8 hours drive away. And anyway, one of the things that she did was one time they went to come in, she just wanted to walk right into the house where I had been staying. And you're living in the real world here, and I had locked the doors because that's what you do. It wasn't some small town back in the 50s. And she was irate. She became so angry. When they parked the RV in the driveway, and I locked the door, like I said, to the house, like I always have, always will do. She got so angry because I locked her out. She didn't have a key. I didn't care. She was not coming in just whenever she felt like it. And that was where I was staying. I was taking care of him. So no, that's my home. You don't have access to my home whenever you feel like it. And plus, the whole thing of safety. There was no way I was going to leave the door unlocked day or night. So, and I wasn't going to give her a key so she can control everything. The woman was weird. I mean, the woman was that dominating. I can go on and on with stories about how she treated him when he was in the hospital yet again, and got angry with him and slapped his face. I'm a grown man in his 40s. While he was in a hospital bed, had broken his back, cracked his, I don't remember which vertebrae or something. Yeah, the woman was out there. Okay, since this video is getting a little bit too long, yeah. Now, if I had been younger and had planned on marrying him, raising a family, whatever, and I saw his mother like that, it would give me cause to pause a long time, and for maybe forever, on the thought of marrying him if he couldn't stop his mother or go no contact with his mother, because that's what she was. That's her behavior. And I had heard stories about his first marriage. Well, I wasn't married to him, so he only had the one marriage. His first wife, what she did to her. But the first wife was made out to be the bad guy when I heard the stories. And apparently she was. But it was some these days people just call it narcissistic. Two narcissistic people fighting for control. Yeah. But to me, that's like I said in all this, I'm an adult. You're not treating me like a child, period. And I have experienced that when I was younger a lot. And, I'm not talking about when I was a kid. I had experienced it then, of course, too. But as an adult, not happening. But it had at first when I was young. I learned how to, set that boundary and say, you're not crossing it. No. Anyway, wrapping this up, if you want to subscribe to this channel and you haven't already, click the circle icon that pops up. If you want to watch another video on this channel, click on the rectangles that pop up. Like, subscribe, comment, and share on your own social media if you would, and I'll talk to you on another video. Bye.